Welcome one, welcome all to Pit Road Productions. Once again, a very special Saturday afternoon / evening greeting to you all. It's time for the Almeida Racing League. Sponsored, of course, by Podium One. It's the second endurance round of this sixth season, round 7 at the Circuit de Catalunya. We're running the historic layout of this incredible circuit. Lots of long straights, plenty of slipstream opportunities in the Spec Racer Ford, and pit strategy to think about as well. Last time we ran an endurance round was back at Phoenix for the Roval round. Now we see if drivers have been able to take anything from that round and bring it to this one. Bringing it to you live here on the Pit Road Productions YouTube channel, as well as Suelio Almeida's channel, is myself, Reese Gardner, with Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box and also producing behind the scenes. Tell you what, Zippy, I think we're going to be seeing some big sends in the slipstream today. Catalunya is always a fun place for a broadcast.
Yeah, it definitely is indeed, Reese, and certainly myself, I'm looking forward to seeing these guys have to deal with pit strategy. Certainly the Spec Racer Ford is sensitive to the draft, it is going to be sensitive to the fuel, and I have a feeling we're going to see maybe a couple of outliers starting to have a bit more of a interesting result.
Yeah, indeed. Could be a few drivers being brought to the fore a little bit more with this longer format that we have here today. But plenty of tracks that we're going to this season. Okay, we'll go race format then. Drivers have already run the 60 minutes of open practice. They are currently in the middle of their qualifying session. But we are not going for a 2-race format here. It's going to be a single 1-hour race with a pit stop basically forced because of the fuel tank restriction. Obviously, there's no fast repairs and a fixed setup. The season thus far, well, Watkins Glen, Barber, Phoenix, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Aragon, and Oschersleben playing host to the first 6 rounds of the season. And obviously, we're here at Catalunya for the second endurance round. Only 4 rounds after this one. Next week, we go to Chicago, the street circuit, Alton Park, Imola, and Lebanon to round off the season, Zippy.
Yeah, definitely. My apologies there. I had an endurance race format graphic prepared, and I think that must have been from last season, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, I need to have a little bit of a clean out indeed, as we are indeed here for round 7. Certainly, we've got the. I am hearing actually they had a pit party last night where they literally went and took over the top 2 splits of the officials, which I'm hearing was some very, very good racing indeed, and some battles going on. But right now, I'm looking at the qualifying race, and I got to say, there's going to be a very happy camper at the front of the field.
Yeah, indeed there will. Cairo Enns has been enjoying the power of the slipstream. It's going to be a very fun time for him if he can hold on to that. The Spec Racer Ford is obviously quite a low-powered machine, so with straights as long as this, a circuit that's as big as this, you're really going to see a huge lap time benefit from running in a train like this. Enns currently on top on a 157.4. He is about 2/10 ahead of Tyler Harker, as a bit over half of the field have set lap times thus far.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a busy-looking track here for qualifying, and don't get me wrong, he's been able to put himself at the top of the pack so far, ladies and gentlemen. But I've got to give a huge shout-out to Almeida. Whoops. Never mind, Cairo. Got to give a huge shout-out here to the Almeida Racing Academy, as we've got some new drivers here with the driver cams. And ladies and gentlemen, this being one of them, Carlos Vicania, turns out it's a little bit more seasoned than we realised.
Yeah, here's Carlos making his way up to the middle range of the circuit. Got to be careful of that sausage curb on the inside at the fast right-hander across the top. It'll be interesting to see how Carlos does here. He doesn't currently have a lap time to his name, but has shown plenty of skill, as have just about every driver in this field. He's looking to try and break into the top 10, maybe a top 5. Maybe this will be the round he finally does it.
Yeah, certainly he's got a nice gap there to the cars ahead. I think it's going to be absolutely beneficial as well. Certainly, it's definitely good to see him out there. But we have another person as well here on the driver cams. I'm going to say they're a bit on the opposite end of the spectrum, ladies and gentlemen. They are indeed one of the more younger drivers. And I have a feeling they're into karts as well. Don't quote me on that, though. I have a feeling they are a professional karter as well. And look right behind them, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Kevin Adrian, that seasoned man himself. He's back, and he's looking pretty dialed in today.
Yeah, he is. Kevin Adrian currently sitting P3. Does the number 10. The other driver we were looking at, Mason Kuhn, who is a contender for the championship this season, very close to Ian Joyner. Still waiting to see what times he can set. Actually, looks like 157.1 for him is good enough for P2 at the moment. So Kuhn and Adrian have made their way up nicely in this field. 8 minutes to go in qualifying. We're still waiting on a couple of other drivers to get their times in. Stephen Saunders is joining us on the cameras tonight as well. And I've just noticed, Zippy, we have someone else here with us today, someone we haven't seen in a long time. Edwin Rivera's back.
Yeah, that's definitely good to see Edwin making a return, and indeed, I'm going to hazard a guess he's going to be right in the Premier class, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely good to see him back. We did have the fortune of seeing him before there. He was absolutely giving Ian Joyner a run for his money. Started the season incredibly strong, was leading the championship last season, and then had to go away for work, for which case we understand, but I don't think we've fully forgiven you for it, but certainly looking forward to seeing what he can do here today at Catalunya.
Yes, he was the main competitor to Ian Joyner last season, but now with the likes of Rupesh Pineni and Mason Kuhn joining them at the front of the field, it's going to be a very interesting fight indeed. That just hypes me up even more for this race here. Car 037 is Connor Bell, and he's our resident coach here today. Don't see any trace of Kane Halliburton here today, so we'll see what Connor can do. Starting from the back of the grid as we expect him to. He is out there on track, but he likely won't be setting lap times. Keeping up with the tradition of the Almeida Racing Academy coaches, starting at the very rear of these races.
Yeah, definitely a potent force indeed, ladies and gentlemen, as well. And I'm just going to give a shout out actually to a friend of mine who's actually sold me a tablet, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to rephrase that, an electronic tablet, which is actually making broadcasting even easier. I'm actually controlling the cameras from that today, so certainly looking to try and incorporate them a little bit more. And certainly good to see the ARA responding in force, ladies and gentlemen, as Mason Kuhn has taken himself to the top of the standings here, and you can see right behind the one and only Mr. Rich Meesters. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, he's on camera too.
He is indeed. Rich Meesters side by side at the moment here, getting pushed a little wide by the 79er Mason Kuhn, who now sits on provisional pole. It's actually been a good run for Mason on these last couple of laps, but Rich is trying to actually get a lap time on the board in the first place. I think he might have gotten some contact there off Mason, which may have invalidated his lap. I'm not entirely sure. He's gonna... Oh, yeah. I don't think that send was entirely intentional. Only 5 minutes to go in qualifying, and so they need to be careful how many laps they can actually set there. Rich Meesters running the smallest VR headset I've ever seen, but it works out very nicely. Let's see how well he does here today as well. We've got so many drivers with great potential for a good result today.
Yeah, certainly this is going to be a driver to keep an eye on, ladies and gentlemen. Rupesh Pineni, now we've known from the start they're generally quite aggressive when it comes to making a move, but it's been an absolute belter of a race there as Mason Kuhn went purple in Sector 1. He's there at the top of the standings, 200ths of a second clear. As I say that, Ian Joyner answers back, ladies and gentlemen. Your reigning champion in the number 18. He goes ahead, but look right behind him. It's Rupesh Pineni there as Felipe Pools moves up into second place.
Oh, that's some pretty big gains. Certainly was. 156.5 is now the quickest time in qualifying. Felipe Pools has managed to get to within half a second of that. But Rupesh Pineni's in the perfect place at the moment. He is behind the driver on track, who currently sits on provisional pole. Ian Joyner obviously carrying great pace here today, and Rupesh is going to take advantage of that.
Oh, absolutely. He's definitely no fool, ladies and gentlemen. But what I can tell you as well, Adrian Hopp, we're looking forward to seeing him near the front top 10, ladies and gentlemen. Not really had the pace last week, but saying that, he's answered back on this occasion. He's currently in P6, ladies and gentlemen. The German driver as well, managing to find himself ahead of Kevin Adrian. Baudas Vansavicius as well. He's running a bit of a hot streak, manages to find his way into P8 as it stands right now. Kai Owens pushed back down into P9, ladies and gentlemen. They were leading earlier on, but we're going to have to wonder as well just how these drivers are going to be able to crank it out in the last couple of laps. And with it being a one-race format, ladies and gentlemen, not two races, I apologize, it's going to be a soft cut to qualifying.
Yeah, it will. So basically what that means is if the clock hits 0 and you're on a lap, you're able to finish it. Usually in the Almeida Racing Academy, we run a 2 or 3 race format, depending on the round. And that induces a hard cut to the end of qualifying. Once the clock hits 0, everyone's just booted back to the pits. So you got to make sure you start your final lap with at least a lap's worth of time to go. Not the case here. A lap at Catalunya taking about 1 minute and 57 seconds at the front of the field as Pineni makes an improvement to second place there. So essentially, you have to be starting your final lap or starting your final out lap, round about now if you want to start getting more times on the board. Saw that Mason Kuhn made a big improvement back up to P4 and Tyler Harker to P5. James Conrad has made his way into P8 after being well outside of the top 10 for most of the session. It looks to me like Felipe Pulls and Cairo Enns are done with their session. They've been in the pits for a while and don't see any signs of them coming out. Other than that, pretty much everyone except Edwin Rivera has set a time, excluding, of course, Connor Bell, who will be starting at the back.
Yeah, certainly I'm surprised Edwin hasn't set a time. That really does throw me a curveball there, but definitely gives him some interesting mixes happening here. As you can see here, Jeremy Childers, definitely he's somebody who we've seen. He started, I think, in split 2, made it to split 1. I think he ended up back in split 2 again. He's definitely been trying to fight to stay in the top area here of the ARA, and fair play to him. That takes a hell of a lot of work. Not only that, he's a father as well, if I remember rightly. So definitely got his hands full, but don't get me wrong, he's currently there in P17 overall. Looking to try and have a clean race today, Reese.
Yeah, indeed. He's going to be working hard, starting out of P17, but it'll be quite a difficult job for everyone all the same. So keep it consistent, keep it safe, don't make mistakes, and have your best race pace ready. That is the goal for today. Lots of long corners at Barcelona as well, which I think would really make an Almeida Racing Academy membership be of benefit to learn the best ways of tackling these fast, long, flowing corners. There's a lot of subtleties, particularly to Catalunya, that can catch drivers out. It looks like a simple enough circuit from the air, but far from it when you're behind the wheel.
Yeah, definitely not one that I am as familiar with as yourself there, Reese. I've seen somebody playing live, but Barrett Blumett, he's been somebody to keep an eye on this season so far. I did hear him get mentioned in that top split race last night, and indeed, he has been quite the force to be reckoned with. Usually at the front of the pack, but certainly, as I always say, top 10 as a general rule. Definitely, I wouldn't say an overly aggressive driver, but definitely not afraid to put a nose in and indeed apply a bit of pressure there. But we got a more aerial view right now. Barrett Blumett able to find himself moving up into P9 overall.
Yeah, they're showing off the middle sector of this circuit. This chicane is one of the toughest parts of the track, actually. It's very easy to go too hard into the left-hander and run off the track, and then a lift, maybe a slight tap of the brakes across the top of the hill here. Down a pretty long straight, it has to be said. The historic layout means that they are going all the way into what is now effectively the runoff area of the circuit. That hairpin there added for Formula One in 2004, that detour, doesn't exist in the real world anymore. This is an older scan of this circuit, but it's a beautiful flowing final sector. And then you need to pick up the throttle. You can run all the way out to the edge of the gravel there, fast through this right-hander, maybe a lift in the Spec Racer Ford. Be careful of that yellow speed bump on entry into the last turn here, which is really difficult to get right. Don't run too wide on the exit, and that is the end of the lap here. And it looks like Barrett not able to make an improvement on his time. It would appear that most of the drivers are done for qualifying. Kevin Lau making an improvement to 13th place. Ian Joyner and Kevin Adrian are going to practice pit entry. That's a smart decision. Aside from that, doesn't look like we're going to be seeing much improvement from anyone in these final moments of the session, apart from Zoltan Zomator, who manages to improve to P12.
Attaboy, Zoltan. Certainly good to see him back. A regular here in the Almeida Racing Academy, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly some fantastic action indeed. It looks like we've got some new people joining us in the chat as well. On Swellio's side, we've got Goofy Goober 121. Blessed to the algorithm to show me this series. Keen for the race. Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, I'm inclined to agree. And while we're on the subject, I see Brian Lenz there making an appearance on the PRP chat. Thank you very much, Brian. Always a pleasure to see you back here as well. On the subscriber count, ladies and gentlemen, last time I checked, which I believe was late last night, I guess technically this morning, we are just 12 subscribers short of hitting that 1,000 subs here on Pit Road Productions. By all means, I'm going to do the joke again. Reese, forgive me for it. Valentine's Day is coming up. I don't want flowers, but 1,000 subs would be lovely. But on the subject, though, let's get a little bit back over here and have a look at the points.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to see that Brian Jabelski is the overall points leader for the entire academy. Our first split one driver sitting in P4 there of Ian Joyner. It looks like a pretty good run for Jabelski so far, but Charles Krasic is still very much in play. So is Adrian Trevino. With 4 rounds to go, maybe Ian Joyner can have a consistent enough set of results that maybe he'd be able to run up against that top 3. But of course, this is all of the different splits running at the same time being thrown together for these points, so it's hard to really know what to do and when. For split one in particular, which we are broadcasting, Ian Joyner is in the lead by almost 40 points there, over 40 points on Mason Kuhn. Rupesh Pineni, 130 points behind Mason Kuhn in the Premier class. And Cairo Ends will be sitting there in 4th. Actually, I'm not too sure if that is indeed the case. Why is he still listed as a Premier Class driver there when he has always been a Club Class driver?
We'll have to get on that, but indeed, we got the Club Class Championship standings here right now. Cairo Ends is indeed leading that with Tyler Harker in 2nd and Felipe Pauls there in 3rd. Tuukka Vakaseo actually absent today. I don't see any drivers from Finland here present today. I don't see Thomas Niemann either. So definitely wondering if there's like a national holiday over on that side of the pond. But indeed, we're going to put that on hold for the minute, ladies and gentlemen, as we are getting ready here for the grid.
All right, we are into the race session now, and Ian Joyner is the man on pole. Michael Hooper, with a very late improvement in the qualifying session, has managed to start on the front row. Rupesh Pineni and Kevin Adrian alongside each other for 3rd and 4th. Felipe Pauls takes pole in the club class with Adrian Hopp alongside. Mason Kuhn in 7th, Tyler Harker in 8th. We have Barrett Brummett and James Conrad rounding out your top 10.
Having a look at P11, we're going to have Jeffrey Westland alongside the one and only Mr. Zoltan Zomator. Baldus Vansavicius takes 13th, Kevin Lau alongside. Cairo Ends starting back there in 15th. Jake Enns, like I say, is watching in the chat again, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly PRP's #1 fan. Kemal Kasim takes P16 with Steve Saunders, the gentleman himself, in 17th, with Jeremy Childers alongside in 18th. Having a look back at 19th, Philip Masson's going to be there alongside a new camera driver, ladies and gentlemen, Carlos Vacania.
Yep, running out the top 20 there. Rich Meesters, Jeffrey Adkins, and Domenico Sayu, the last drivers to set times in qualifying. Connor Bell did not set one. Edwin Rivera will start in 25th place. We do have one other driver that entered the server in practice, but I don't think he was supposed to be here in this split. So that's going to be the full field there. Interesting to see what Edwin Rivera can do on his return to the Almeida Racing Academy. How far he'll be able to fling his way up the field. But now we will turn our attention to the race start and the incredibly long run into turn 1, Zippy. That's one of the iconic parts of this circuit. We're going to be seeing drivers getting in the slipstream as soon as they possibly can.
Absolutely, and certainly it's going to be one of those tracks where the draft is vitally important. You've really got to decide when is going to be the best time to make that pass, and certainly strategy is going to be key here. Will you be able to save so much fuel potentially behind some of these cars? I would honestly be trying to stay in the lead pack, but definitely not be leading it. That would be my advice here from the broadcasting booth.
All right, let's see what Ian Joyner decides as the pace car pulls into the pits. Get ready for the green flag here for Round 7 of Season 6 of the Almeida Racing League. All of these drivers, students of the Almeida Racing Academy, and this is where they put their newly found skills to the test. Green flag flies, and Ian Joyner with a very fast start there. Connor Bell has immediately gotten a black flag. I'm not entirely sure what the deal is there, but into turn 1 we will come. Michael Hooper under pressure from Rupesh Paneni, and Hooper goes very deep into turn 1, almost runs into the back of Joyner, gets back on track in front of Kevin Adrian and really hurts his apex speed. Tyler Harker takes advantage and moves on through into 4th, gaining 4 positions in the first 2 turns alone.
Yeah, that definitely could have ended up being very interesting there. A little bit of an off track by Hooper, and that absolutely catastrophically ruined his line there. Kevin Adrian looking to fight back. Barrett Blument there, currently up 1 position as well. Looking a little bit further back through the field. Connor Bell already making up 5 positions, ladies and gentlemen. And indeed, it looks like we've been incident free for the most part. As I say that, Mason Kuhn showing us 18 positions down. I'm not quite sure what's happening with them, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, something's going on. But right now,
I think he's
Ian
dropped.
Joyner, yeah, it says he just jumped to the pits. Interesting.
Yeah, his connection dropped, and he's had to restart the race from pit lane. That's a real shame for Mason Kuhn, who was right up there in the top 10. But Ian Joyner now continuing to lead this one. There's Mason Kuhn making his way out of pit lane. Fortunately, it is an endurance format round, so there is potential for him to make up some time here, especially if there's problems for drivers ahead. Rupesh Paneni runs 2nd ahead of Felipe Pulls and Tyler Harker, and some great gains being made through the field here. Connor Bell is the one with the most positions gained. Our resident coach is up 7 places from where he started, currently pressuring the back of Stephen Saunders here for 16th place. It's really difficult to maximize your line through those final couple of turns at Catalunya. You need to worry a bit about aero push, even in this car at the slow speeds it usually races at.
Yeah, definitely you can see there Connor Bell is very much using the aero to his advantage right now. I believe that's Steve Saunders just ahead of him, and indeed he's managed to get a little bit of a slipstream going for the run as they make their way down towards the right hand, and see there under the braking applying even more pressure. He's got Steve Saunders dead to rights at this point. Saunders has to admit defeat, but not only going for 1, going for 2. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Kemal Kasim. He's just managed to sneak by as well. Steve Saunders saying, I'll take some of that action as well. And right now, Connor Bell up 9 positions with James Conrad ahead, and indeed another regular student here, ladies and gentlemen, Cairo Ends holding on to P13 overall.
Yep, Cairo making up 2 places himself. Same is true for everyone ahead of him up to Jeffrey Westland in 9th. All of those drivers have gained 2 positions each, and that's a bit of damage that Cairo's gotten on the front of his car for the moment. A couple of drivers have had some issues with contact in these early stages. That's Saunders, I think, spinning in the background there, unfortunately. He's fallen down the order as a result. Very easy to get the rear end loose there. See what happened exactly to Saunders as he gets back going just off the racing line there, and big contact. I think that was Rivera that went into him.
It was indeed, Reece. Definitely not what he had in mind there on his return. Certainly a little bit of a whoops moment, and indeed it does happen. But right now, I've got to say, some interesting battles happening throughout the field. I'm surprised Edmund Rivera isn't actually up the field a little bit further, but I can tell you Steve Saunders has indeed picked up a meatball flag. That Spec Racer Ford feeling a little bit worse for wear. Ian Joyner, however, at the front of the pack, has not been able to shake away the Indian driver here of Rupesh Paneni, who's currently about 0.3 per second behind.
See that Ian Joyner is running over that yellow speed bump on the entry to the final corner. It's a bit of a risky move to take, because you can almost Tony Hawk grind your car on that rail. Very careful car positioning from Ian Joyner. Paneni not going for it into turn 1, and this is what I expected for such a long race. You don't want to be going for moves at turn 1 for the lead, left, right, and center. Staying behind in the slipstream and waiting for a better opportunity down the line is the way to go. Remember, they are going to have to take a pit stop in this race.
They are indeed. I've got some information here from Kurt Kuhn. I'd say it's probably his dad, I guess, on the Almeida Academy chat, ladies and gentlemen. He's let me know that Mason Kuhn's computer actually crashed. Definitely a little bit unfortunate, but thankfully able to rejoin quite promptly.
Yeah, it's never nice to see technical issues befall a driver. It's our sim racing equivalent of a timing belt coming loose or something like that. Just an annoying thing that happens and forces you onto the back foot at the start of a race. But Mason is a skilled driver. He's been competing for the lead of the championship all season for a good reason. Let's hope that he has a bit more luck going forward. His lap times, though, doesn't look like he's really shadowing anyone above 16th place at the moment, running 58.5s. You have to go to James Conrad in 16th to see lap times like that. So maybe Kuhn will be able to catch up and maybe get a top 20 out of this in these early stages, but he's going to have a few more things go his way.
Yeah, definitely. But one thing I am keeping an eye on here, Felipe Pauls, we've seen him do it before, Reese. Certainly, he is a master of pit strategy. There's no doubt he could probably try and find his way a little bit further through the field here. But I have a feeling he's pretty much doing exactly the technique I suggested, and indeed is sitting back, staying with the lead pack, and just trying to go and gather some fuel. Barrett Blumett, however, is catching up. That's Jeffrey Westland there, taking to the sand. You're going to see he's going to be compromised. But ladies and gentlemen, look behind him. Here comes Connor Bell, and look who's coming in tow. It's Cairo Enns.
Yep, Cairo obviously running some great times at the start of qualifying, and he's looking to go for the move here on Connor Bell. Gets ahead on the way into turn one, and Connor Bell lets him have it there. Someone going off in a big way there. That was Kevin Lau that I think completely missed the breaking point for turn one.
Yeah, that was definitely a little bit of an exit stage left there, and indeed a very scenic route from Lau. Let's see if we can take a quick look to see what happened there.
Yeah, Lau was in 13th place at the time. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the deal was there. If he just missed the breaking point or got unstable. Yeah, I think he did miss the breaking point, and there was a bit of a lockup as well on his way into the gravel. Well, back to the battle then for 9th now. Cairo Enns making his way past Connor Bell, but the Academy coach is not letting him get away, and they still need to think about Barrett Brummett and Kevin Adrian just up ahead. Jeffrey Westland has rejoined just a couple of positions behind these guys, separated from them by that bright yellow car of Zoltan Zomator. It's very easy to run deep in the final corner at Catalunya, and this being an old school circuit, the gravel trap will be right there to greet you. Yeah,
definitely. There is at least room that you're not going to completely smash the car. Certainly a little bit more forgiving than something like Detroit, Belle Isle, or indeed Long Beach, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly, I think Cairo Enns is maybe reminiscing a little bit here of Mike Sargent, one of the former students here. Oh, I believe he is still a student. He's just not running this season, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly, when the ARA had a bonus points available for defending against the coach, indeed, he was the man of defense. He was the iron wall, ladies and gentlemen. I think Cairo Enns has heard about these antics and is looking to try and regain that title from Mike Sargent. Instead, Connor Bell not been able to find his way past yet. However, Kevin Adrian and Barrett Blumett starting to chest away about 1.2 seconds.
Battle for the lead is heating up as well. Starting to see a bit of jostling in that pack as Kevin Adrian continues catching up to Barrett Brummett there. Rupesh Panini, you'll notice, has a bit of visual damage on the front end of his car. He was bump drafting Ian Joyner a little bit down the straight as Tyler Harker and Felipe Pauls are continuing to fight over third. The car in the background of this one, Adrian Hopp, is the only car other than Ian Joyner and Valdez Vansavicius to still occupy the same position he started in. But I think that Hopp is playing this quite nicely. You latch on to the back of a pack of cars, you can stay with them as long as you hit your marks. That'll give you an advantage come pit stop time.
Absolutely, and one thing I'm definitely noticing, that gap has got even smaller to Barrett Blumett. It was up about 1.6 seconds before. It's down to about 7/10 of a second, ladies and gentlemen, and he's bringing Kevin Adrian with him. Cairo Enns and Connor Bell not that far behind, about 1.2 seconds back before we get another pack here. Behind Bell, we got Zoltan Zomator, Jeffrey Westland, Valdez Vansavicius, Rich Meesters, and James Conrad, all looking to try and potentially find their way to the front of the pack.
Yep, they're all trying their best here as Meesters picks up the slipstream of Vansavicius, goes for the move, and this final sector corner is going to see plenty of passes all the way through this race. It's a prime opportunity to get past before the start-finish straight, but yeah, this never-ending 180-degree sweeper is one where we're going to be seeing the limits of grip tested for sure.
Yeah, definitely got to say, I am a fan of the pattern there on Valder Spencer Vicious' car. It's a very tastefully done livery, and certainly we do enjoy a good livery here. As yep, Goofy Goober, I'm going to have a look at that in just a few minutes. It's been one of those kind of days, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, Valder Spencer Vicious is without a doubt bump drafting the 64 Rich Meisters.
Oh, drama for the lead. It looked like Rupesh Pineni made the move on Ian Joyner at turn 1, but then lost it through the first turn. He's been shuffled back to third, and it looks like Felipe Bulls took advantage to move through. Everyone behind him is all jumbled. Barrett Brummett, Kevin Adrian, Cairo Ince, Connor Bell, Zoltan Zumator, and Jeffrey Westland are all now a part of this lead pack. This is looking a bit ridiculous now as Brummett goes for the move on Hop to get into P6.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this just got even spicier. You can see here we have at least an 8-car fight for the lead. There's more contact. Tyler Harker's car there with a little bit of damage at the front. Rupesh Pineni currently leading this second pack. Ian Joyner by miraculously somehow able to get away there. And Felipe Pauls, I did say he'd be an eye keep on for strategy, and indeed it's working out for him. What he needs to do though is work together with Joyner and try and pull themselves away here from Pineni, Harker, Hop, Hooper, Brummett, Adrian, Enns, Bell, Zomator, and Westland if they want to try and stay a chance at keeping the front of this pack.
That was an excellent move from Harker at the hairpin through the middle, but he's not going to be able to repeat that here. He's forced Michael Hooper to back out of this. He goes deep, though, and Hooper's going to come back at him here through the left-hander, letting Rupesh Pineni get away from them a little bit. They need to stay within about a second of Joyner and Pulls if they want the benefit of the slipstream. You can't afford to jostle around too much in the final sector here. There is a super long start-finish straight to contend with here at Catalunya, and if you are out of slipstream range right here, you are not going to get the advantage, and you're going to have to work even harder through the corners to keep up.
Yeah, definitely some damage there on the front of Tyler Harker's car. You can see that left front corner has definitely taken a hit. There's Adrian Hop now using the slipstream, staying pretty close. Michael Hooper, he's got both of them ahead. Is he going to be able to try and find a move? It's going to have to be a bit of a dive if he does. See there, Harker on the outside, Hop on the inside, and indeed it looks like Hooper trying to get in on the action, almost close enough there to put a wheel in, backs out of it. Very wise move there. Connor Bell getting a front row seat of the action as well, as he's got Cairo Ince. He's still giving him a hard time, ladies and gentlemen. He does not. No interest in the fact he's the coach, and I don't blame him. I absolutely fight to your heart's content. But indeed, they're in the lead pack. This could get very, very interesting very, very shortly.
Well, Connor Bell will move up the inside of Kevin Adrian there through turn 4. The turn 5 hairpin beckons, and it looks to me like there won't be any moves there. Cairo's just trying to position his car for a good exit here versus Kevin Adrian, but he doesn't want to lose touch with Bell. Oh, here we go. He's trying to move for the inside here. This is not usually a passing opportunity, but Cairo manages to get it done. And here comes the response from Kevin Adrian. He's going to move back up the inside again. Yeah,
going with the switchback, so certainly it makes for good fun racing, but the whole time they're doing it, they're going to start dropping behind Connor Bell. You can already see that gap is extended to 0.8 of a second. Risk versus reward, gentlemen. Just how hard do you want to fight? As Zoltan Zomator says, you know what, Adrian, I'll have a go. And Adrian has to back out of that there for a second. Zomator, he's there. He's very much in contention, but again, look at this. Enns now pulling away. He's going to be the camera car for this battle.
All right, Zoltan Zumator trying his best here to elevate himself up the field. Kevin Adrian now down 7 places from where he started. He has gotten shuffled back massively in this pack, but this is an opportunity for him to reset and try and find a way further forward from here. Maybe not the best run through the final corner, though, as Felipe pulls, slipstreams past Ian Joyner. The lead of the race now falls to the Brazilian, and Joyner will respond immediately by tucking into the slipstream himself. Rupesh Pineni sees an opportunity to get past the championship leader, but it doesn't happen right away.
Oh, Reese, I honestly thought he was going to go for it then. I am getting chills watching this race, ladies and gentlemen. The action is absolutely incredible here. It's Adrian Hop now. He's trying to apply a bit of pressure. Fellow countryman Michael Hooper right behind it. You have to wonder if these guys will form a little bit of a truce here, as this is some of the best racing we've seen here at the Almeida Racing Academy. We did always advocate for the Spec Racer Ford, but Catalunya, not by Princess approved track list, but certainly on the broadcasting side, is proving to be an absolute diamond in the rough.
Yeah, for sure. Track like this is always fantastic in these slower classes of cars. This is a Formula One circuit through and through, and so it's no stranger to super fast cars, but these machines really provide the bulk of action on iRacing. It's fantastic to see. Paul's managing to pull out to a lead of about 0.3 of a second there over Ian Joyner. Rupesh Paneni nailing the run through turn 10, I believe, turn 9, as we find our way a bit further back. This is the number 88 of Kevin Lau. Remember the last time we saw him, he was running deep into turn 1. He's got Jeffrey Adkins, no, not Jeffrey Adkins, Kemal Kassim up ahead of him, who seems to be having a couple of connection issues.
Yeah, definitely good to see these guys battling. I just saw a little bit of debris there on the track, and Kemal Kassim definitely having some connections issues indeed. I'm inclined to agree there, Reese, but good to see battles happening throughout. Jeffrey Atkins, as you mentioned, though, he's there getting into a battle with Philip Masson. I'm pretty sure these guys regularly come together here, Reese. Certainly a good bit of rivalry between the two.
Yep, not the first time we've seen Adkins and Masson fighting for some of the more minor positions. Philippe, the Frenchman, has had some good results in the past, but hasn't had the best luck in the last few rounds of this season. Hopefully he'll have his luck turn around somewhat. He's got a lot of work to do to catch up to the drivers in front, including this man, Carlos Facaya. Jeremy Childers up behind him. But it's still a good run up through the field for Facania. He's up 4 positions thus far, and only a quarter of the race has been done. So what more are we going to see from presumably the older of the 2 Brazilians that we have in this field today?
Yeah, that's definitely a fair play. And I gotta be honest as well, like, I never, like, this sounds so cold, ladies and gentlemen, but certainly you never really get a realization of just how varied the age of the grid is. Certainly, we got one end of the scale. We got like the likes of like people like Assad and Cardenberg, Kara Dudgeon, you know, Mason Kuhn, all on the like they're just starting out in their racing career. And then we got the more seasoned gentlemen. We got like the likes of, I'm sorry, I can't even say it. Steve Saunders, ladies and gentlemen, certainly himself, Kevin Adrian, Carlos Facania joining the seasoned club. I'm sorry to say, gentlemen, you are some of the more seasoned racers we've seen, and certainly my iRacing mentor, ladies and gentlemen, CR Reed. Definitely on the more seasoned side. I'm pretty sure he's in his 70s, maybe even his 80s, ladies and gentlemen. And by all means, I've got a feeling I may have oversold that, but he'll be watching, and he'll indeed send me a little bit of a roast back a bit later on.
I'm sure he will. Unfortunate sequence of events for Zoltan Zomotor. He has dropped off the back of this pack now. He ran incredibly deep at the hairpin there and got into the gravel. I saw some dust being kicked up in the background. Zomotor has had some great drives in this series in the past, but I think Cairo Inn's had a lucky escape there. Unfortunately, Zomotor a bit too late on the brakes.
Yeah, that's the thing when you start pushing really hard. Indeed, it gets even tighter. So right now we're seeing another pack starting to emerge here, ladies and gentlemen. James Conrad going to be in the middle of it. He's got Valdos Pansavicius just ahead as he goes to make a move here on the inside of turn 1. He's got the slipstream. Can he get it done?
Drama for the lead.
Oh.
Okay. It looks like Felipe Pauls has gotten into it. He and Rupesh Paneni moving past Ian Joyner, but Michael Hooper having some problems. He ended up having a slide, and that's knocked Ian Joyner back to P8. So the former race leader now falling outside the top 7, could be outside the top 8 now if Barrett Brummett decides to make the move. Cairo Inn's trying to take advantage from Adrian Hop's mistake, and he now looks to be that being Adrian, the most damaged car in the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, definitely these guys are indeed duking it out. Survival is going to be the main name of the game, ladies and gentlemen. But at the front of the pack, though, Felipe Pauls has managed to hold on. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be sweating at this point because Rupesh Paneni, ladies and gentlemen, he is not afraid to make a move here. But I'm going to start to wonder, when are these guys going to bring it into the pits? It's an hour-long race. We've still got quite a bit to go. I don't know when I'd go. Honestly, the whole time I'd be in this lead pack, I'd be literally just sipping on fuel, use as little as possible. But right now as well, the lap time's getting ever shorter as well. I'm seeing a 56.74 from Connor Bell.
Yeah, indeed. Bell moves past Harker in the hairpin there, and he'll make his way up yet another position into the top 5 now. And 40 minutes to go in this one. I think we're just about in the pit window, surely. We may be seeing a few drivers make their way into pit lane, but I think if you're a part of this lead pack, which once again goes all the way from the lead down to 11th, I think it'd be smart to just try and stay out as long as you can here. Take advantage of the slipstream for as long as you can, because if you pit, especially on your own, you're not going to have a buddy with you to draft off, and the draft is so important here. There's the bump draft again from Rupesh Pineni. He's not going to go for the lead on Felipe Puls. You know, I think Pineni is the driver who's playing this best so far. Behind them, though, Barrett Brummett and Jeffrey Westland have come together, and they both find themselves in the runoff area at turn 1. Oh my god. Yep, okay. Well, Jeffrey learning the hard way that those speed bumps are not flat.
Well, let's see exactly what happened there. That's Jeffrey Westland on the top of the screen. Barrett Brummett there on the inside in the blue, ladies and gentlemen. Side by side as they make their way down to turn 1. And honestly, that looks like Westland didn't really see he was there.
It looked like just a slight bit of contact in the braking zone. Watch. Okay, we'll cut away from it, but he went airborne there.
We can go back.
Yeah, so the issue there was Westland and Brummett just converged on the same line there. It was only slight contact, but Jesus, my goodness, that is really substantial, that speed bump. You don't want to run over those. And it looks like Westland's problems have continued there. That's coming out of turn 5, I believe. Doesn't seem to have much in the way of visual damage, but besides that, we are down to 9 for the battle for the lead. Puls and Pineni still managing to hold on to it. Adrian Hopp, in spite of his damage, is still fighting tooth and nail to keep every position he can, but he has to give that one up to Tyler Harker.
Yeah, Tyler Harker carrying a little bit of damage as well, but don't get me wrong, these guys are very much in contention. Ian Joyner just hanging back there in PA. I have a feeling he's not going to be looking to push too hard. Kevin Adrian, though, he's going to have to find a little bit more pace out of that Spec Racer Ford if he wants to stay with his pack. If he loses them, he's going to be pretty much done for, and it's going to have some serious long-term effects on this race here as Ian Joyner goes for the move. He's got Hopp out with it. Is he going to be able to get a move in on the inside of Harker as well? He's keeping the nose in it, but is it going to be enough? Nope, he backs out.
All right, looks like he's... that's some good momentum out of turn 1 there, but not going to take too much advantage. Joyner is a little bit involved with Tyler Harker at the moment, but steadily losing touch with the drivers ahead. They need to be careful not to run side by side for too long. Tyler obviously wants to take point in this charge, but Ian Joyner, don't forget, is the man who started this race on pole position. So we've got a lot of potential for a fun battle here. Is it going to cost them the opportunity to go for the win, though? In these early stages of a race, you do need to prioritize staying in the pack over just about everything else.
Well, one thing I have noticed is Felipe Puls has indeed fallen back here to P5, and indeed Cairo ends now. We've not really mentioned it too much so far this show, ladies and gentlemen, but certainly we have a Premier and a Club category here in the Almeida Racing Academy. Right now, I gotta say, it's pretty varied about where people are, but right now, this is the battle here for the leader of the Club class, and indeed it's Felipe Puls and Cairo ends going side by side, and the whole time they're doing it, Connor Bell starting to jet away as well. They've got to remember the priorities. If they lose that lead back, it's going to bite them in the long run.
Certainly will. And this isn't just a battle for the lead in the race for the club class. It's a fight for Cairo Enns to maintain his advantage in the championship lead in the club class as well. This has been Cairo Enns' most successful season in the Almeida Racing League by far. So he wants to try and maintain that momentum here. It's good to see that he's kept his car clean in the midst of all of the battling and all the scuffs that we've seen happen. But behind him, Ian Joyner and Tyler Harker still haven't sorted out P6. They are fighting tooth and nail over this, but is it costing them? Harker keeps braking a bit later than Ian Joyner at every braking zone. He wants to hold on to this position desperately, but is that the right way to go about it?
I gotta say, I think Ian Joyner's almost doing a bit of rinse and repeat. He's got the strategy down pat for trying to make a pass on turn 1, but I gotta give credit there where due. Tyler Harker definitely making life difficult for him as Ian Joyner now says, you know what, I've got one. I want some more, ladies and gentlemen, deciding to go and try and make his way through the pack, ladies and gentlemen. The British driver, indeed, currently resting in P6. He's down 5 positions from the start, but still very much in contention. The hard charger in the field, I'm pretty sure anybody could guess this one. Connor Bell, he's up an astonishing 21 positions, ladies and gentlemen. He's got the 2 leaders in sight, but if we exclude the academy coaches, Rich Meesters looks to have that title. He's up 8. Actually, no. Apologies. Cairo Enns, ladies and gentlemen. He's up 10.
Yes, Enns following in the wheel tracks of Connor for a lot of this race and has really benefited from it. If you're one of the ones who has been blessed by the algorithm to come to this live stream and you know nothing about this league, it is the official league for students of the Almeida Racing Academy, the best coaching platform for iRacing and for real-world racing as well. $25 a month gets you access to all of the coaching material from Swelio Almeida and friends. Almeida and Connor Bell in particular, with plenty of real-life racing experience under their belts here. Swelio racing a TCR in IMSA competition in the previous year or two, and Bell racing in Canada, winning on debut in NASCAR Canada last year at Calabogie, in fact. So there is a lot of racing nous behind our coaches here, and they are willing to let you know their secrets here. This is your opportunity to test yourself out against them directly. Connor Bell keeping his eyes peeled on Rupesh Panini and Michael Hooper at the front of this field. It's been a great turnaround for Hooper. He's worked his way back to the lead. Rupesh Panini trying his best to hold on to the back of him as we're almost halfway through this race.
It looks like Joyner's trying to make up a few more positions, ladies and gentlemen. Getting the inside there on Cairo Enns. These guys have literally been duking out, as Enns has definitely picked up a little bit of debris there on the front of his car. And Tyler Harker saying, you know what, thank you very much. I think I'll have a piece of that action. Enns there going to put it on the inside of Joyner. Not quite close enough. I think that was more of a mind punt than anything. But Harker now applying even more pressure with Adrian Hobb and Kevin Adrian. Thankfully, Adrian able to catch up with his back. He's there, and you can see damage on the back of Hobb's car as well. He's picked that up recently.
I think Hobbs had that damaged for a while, actually. That was the contact through turn 1 some laps ago when there was that drama for the battle for the lead. Hobbs done well to actually hold on to this position in this pack. No fast repairs, though, so if he wants to get that damage fixed, if it is indeed hurting him, he's going to be in the pits a bit longer than everyone else. Is it worth taking that damage and losing touch with the draft?
I would say probably not, Reese. Honestly, the biggest thing is staying with this pack. I have a feeling it's going to be a high-speed game of chicken, ladies and gentlemen, as if one of these guys comes in, I'm pretty sure all of these guys come in. And certainly, that would be my play, as we got a battle happening further back. Looks like James Conrad, Carlos Picania, and indeed Jeremy Childers are starting to duke it out here for P13 overall.
Oh, side by side through the penultimate corner. James Conrad makes it up on Carlos Facania and then into the final corner. Is there going to be an over-under here from Carlos? There certainly is. Look at the momentum he carries out of the turn here, but he is not going to have any slipstream benefit. That will belong to Jeremy Childers. But interestingly, he seems to be losing touch with them in a straight line. That's interesting. We have two more drivers that have come in for pit stops on this lap. Rich Meesters and Jeffrey Adkins, who weren't separated by too much. And, okay, interesting. It looks like Adkins might have missed his pit box there, and he's made contact with the garages as well. That's far from ideal for Jeffrey Adkins. The pit stop making his race go awry.
Yeah, that's definitely an unusual technique there in the pits, but I have a feeling there that Jeremy Childers was looking to save fuel, ladies and gentlemen. No doubt about that. There was a lift. I'm pretty confident in that. But further back at the front of the field, this stuff is going absolutely incredible. Indeed, we are looking to host some random special events here at Pit Road Productions, and the Spec Racer Ford is one of the cars on that shortlist. To qualify and being in one of those events, you basically have to have been on a Pit Road Production show, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. It really is that easy, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, anybody in the chat who'd like to join, you need to find your way onto a show. But we got a question here. Why did Ian Joyner suddenly slip from 2nd to 8th? Well, there was a bit of an incident there, William Joyner. William Joyner, you must be his father, I guess, looking at the picture, certainly. And, yeah, he got in a bit of an incident, but thankfully, he is making his way back through the field, ladies and gentlemen, and has made his way all the way up to P5 with the leaders very much in contention ahead.
Yeah, there's been some drama in these leading positions. It would appear that every driver under the sun has wanted to take glory away from Ian Joyner today, and Ian's done the Ian Joyner thing and kept himself out of trouble, just slipping back where needed. He's one of those drivers I've noticed that doesn't mind compromising every now and then as long as it keeps him safe, and it looks like it's working out for him here. There is a bit of a top three breakaway now as Connor Bell is right on the back of Rupesh Paneni and Michael Hooper. Paneni in the red car, having a little peek at turn one, but he's not going to go for it. You can run all the way across that curb on the way into turn one to basically increase your apex speed by taking a wider line in. But it would appear that Hooper's the only one who's really taking full advantage of that, and his lead remains at about 0.3 of a second. Is Bell going to move past Paneni on this lap? At the moment, it's looking like no.
Yeah, I have a feeling Connor Bell is conserving fuel. I think he's pretty happy being there in P3. He's got Felipe Pauls behind him. And certainly Rupesh Paneni, I'm pretty sure, is taking the same approach. Michael Hooper right now carrying the short straw, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong. If there was bonus points for leading a lap, I have a feeling this could very much change the dynamic of the racing. Because then, are you going to try and get the lead laps in, or indeed, are you going to try and save fuel? Definitely could go a lot of different ways, and it just goes to show as well how much regulations can really change the dynamics of racing. Certainly, if you remove the incident limit, I have a feeling a few of these guys will be getting even more flirtatious with the track limits, and indeed, I think we'd see a little bit more, I'd say door banging, but they don't have a door, so we'll say side pod banging would occur.
Yeah. And Barcelona in particular is a track where it's very easy to overrun those track limits. You have green concrete strips that line the track in many places. The curbs are wide and flat, being a Grand Prix and motorcycle circuit as well. And the corners are so fast that it's so tempting to get on the power early and run wide for a bit of an extra advantage. Lots of tarmac runoff in this final sector of the circuit that has been through many changes and alterations over the years. That induces another bit of difficulty in the off-track sense. But another lap complete, 16 laps done. My timing is saying 15 laps to go. And we have a couple of takers to the pit lane from the back of this pack. Barrett Brummett and Zoltan Zomator have decided to jump in. And, well, it's a smart decision. Pitting with a buddy is the way to go.
Yeah, Barrett Brummett there right on the marks, and indeed Zoltan Zomator not far behind. We're going to have to see how it works out for them, because don't get me wrong, they want to come out and they want to come out together, and potentially they're going to come out without traffic as well. That could actually be quite good for them, because depending on the pace here, you get stuck behind somebody slower, that could be detrimental. Barrett Brummett, though, his fastest lap currently at 156.98. Zoltan Zomator at 156.92. So these two drivers very equally matched there. Brummett absolutely riving it to get going, and Zomator's away. How about Brummett? And indeed, Zomator's slingshot him in the pits.
Yes, indeed. That stop was about 3 seconds faster for Zoltan Zomator. And that's a good advantage for him. Track position is his, but now they are all on their own on track at the moment. No one to slipstream against, so the challenge is how fast can they possibly go to try and get back in touch with the top 9 from here. Cars that have pitted thus far. Edwin Rivera leads the cars that have pitted, but he pitted a while ago for damage. So did Steven Saunders. So I think they still owe us a pit stop, those two. Zomator with about 27 seconds stopped in the lane. Rich Meesters and Kemel Kasim with 24 second stops. And the same for Jeffrey Adkins ultimately. But of course the time lost reversing back into his pit box and making contact with the pit building has brought Adkins to a great disadvantage there.
Well, one thing I'm going to keep an eye on here is Tyler Harker has indeed picked up a yellow flag. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a bit wide there for the number 19 of Rupesh Paneni, and that looks like, oh, sorry, it's Connor Bell. I thought it was Mason Coon for a second. Connor Bell just says, thank you very much. I'm going to take advantage of that, and moves his way up into second. How's Paneni going to feel about that? Certainly, he's in the lead pack, and it looks like he's applying a bit of pressure there. Felipe Pauls actually sitting back, but Tyler Harker still has that slowdown to serve. He's going to have to serve that very, very quickly there. As I got a feeling he's picked up even more damage on the left front corner, but he needs to shave that. Otherwise, the stewards will... Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. He's cleared it, but... Oh, incredible cost, ladies and gentlemen. He's now 1.6 seconds back. As look at this now. The pit lane, a hive of activity. Kevin Adrian, Hop, Valdes Fansavicius, they're all from... Hop and Adrian from the lead pack. And indeed, Carlos Facania, Steve Saunders as well. There you go. Steve Saunders back into the pits, ladies and gentlemen. The pit lane lighting up like a beehive. Kevin Adrian, though, out there, and indeed out there solo. Adrian Hop we're seeing so much variations here in the pits there, Reese.
Yeah, we certainly have. I noticed James Conrad has retired. That's interesting there for Mr. Conrad. He just pulled over in the final sector and escaped back to pit lane. So a bit of a mystery as to why James Conrad is in the pits there, but regardless, we'll have to think about that some other time, because this lead pack still owes us a pit stop. Connor Bell leads from Hooper, Paneni, Pulls, Joyner, and Ends. It's only Tyler Harker and Jeremy Childers that join them as cars that haven't made it into pit lane yet. This is where Bell ultimately made the pass. Nice move up the inside, and there wasn't much of an opportunity for Hooper to respond to that. They're in the final sector now on live pictures. Now, do any of them go into pit lane? It looks like we're going to be seeing a move. Yes, we are. Very late dives to pit lane. Bell gains some advantage on the way into the pits. Hooper will lead Panini on the way in. There's an overtake being made there by Tyler Harker on Felipe Pulls. Fantastic stuff.
Was awesome.
Obviously, Felipe Pulls slowing down a bit too early for the pit lane speed limit. Wow, that's one way to take a place.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that again. You can certainly remember last time we saw a pass on a pit lane.
2 passes.
That was beyond jammy, but I can remember exactly what blooper I made last time there was a pass on pit lane. I'm sure you can remember it. We're not going to say it, but it was indeed hilarious, ladies and gentlemen. But how's this going to work out? Ian Joyner, the only one who said, no thanks, I'll stay where I'm at, and indeed stays out there. But look who he's got to play with, ladies and gentlemen. Edwin Rivera, 30 seconds back.
Yes. And don't forget, Edwin Rivera has already visited the pits early on for damage. That's something we need to take into account. Potentially, Edwin might not have the fuel to get to the end, as on the way out of pit lane, problems for Michael Hooper. He runs a bit wide through turns 1 and 2. He'll fall behind Harker, Pulls, and Ends as a result. And well, he's going to have to reassess here. Connor Bell and Rupesh Paneni have come out 2 and 7 seconds ahead of these guys. Rupesh Paneni all on his own at the moment. He'll be hoping that someone joins him shortly, because otherwise we're going to see Connor Bell with a runaway victory here, potentially.
Yeah, certainly. Looking at the pit times as well, quite the variance. Connor Bell, 20 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, Edwin Rivera then there for 8 seconds. He's going to have to make a stop again. But such an incredible variance. I mean, it's alarming and concerning, and also interesting, ladies and gentlemen, about such a variety there. We see who's been saving fuel. Connor Bell, though, able to show why he is indeed an academy coach. Incredible gain there in the pit lane.
Cairo ends, unfortunately, with an issue. He went deep and had a slide in the turn 5 hairpin, so he's been demoted back to 9th place with no one around him to take advantage from. We're going to see it here. He was just late on the brakes, and the way the elevation changes through that hairpin, it's very easy for the rear end to swing out. So Cairo loses a lot of momentum there. Ian Joyner will jump into pit lane, and surely Edwin Rivera is going to be coming back as well, because his pit stop was only 8 seconds at the very start of this race, and indeed there he goes. Connor Bell all the way out in front now. Does he have the pace here to get past Joyner? He certainly will. And that just goes to show pitting with everyone else is probably the way to go at a track like this. Ian Joyner at a great disadvantage here. He's come back out in P5, a long way behind that first position he started in.
Yeah, definitely, but don't get me wrong, the pit's really shaking things up. Such an interesting variance on pit lane times. Felipe Pulls and indeed Tyler Harker, both around the 21 region. Only driver to get into the 20-second mark was indeed Connor Bell. So we're going to have to keep an eye. Don't get me wrong, we got no doubt he can save fuel, but I just wonder just how much he's been able to save fuel, because his calculations may indeed be suffering now. He's out there ahead, and he's got no one to draft behind, so this actually could end up working against Connor Bell here. He could be at a disadvantage for the close of this race.
Yeah, that is the question. We're going to have to monitor what their hot laps are like. Most of the previous lap times that I'm seeing here are actually the outlaps from the pit lane, which are about 2.5 minutes. So we don't really have a read on who is the paciest out of the pits here. Felipe Pulls, though, looking at a potential top 3 here with Tyler Harker ahead. Pulls holds on to the club class. lead for the moment. Ian Joyner and Michael Hooper not too far behind and could potentially cost him some points. It is a great advantage for Felipe Puls, though. His main other contender in the club class, Cairo Ends, obviously with the issue he faced on his outlap, back in 8th place. And it's worth pointing out that our 2 subclasses in this league, they are not scored separately. You are awarded points based on your overall finishing position and no one else. Actually, Harker, the one leading the club class at the moment. But regardless, the more premier class cars you have in between yourself and your nearest club class rival, the more points, the greater points advantage you will get, is what I'm trying to say. Cairo Ends probably needs a bit of luck to fall his way to narrow that gap.
In the meantime, though, Ian Joyner has been able to catch up to the back here of Felipe Puls. So while the pit strategy maybe didn't work out exactly how he'd hoped, he is indeed back here with 2 cars, and indeed the last place on the podium currently being held by Tyler Harker, who I can tell you has definitely got some repairs there during the pit stop. The front right corner, the front left corner, indeed, of that car was looking a little bit worse for wear now, but thankfully he is back in form. Conor Bell, you can just see him in the forefront of the shot there. Rupesh Paneni about 2 seconds behind. You're going to have to wonder, though, is this pack of 3 cars going to be able to not only work together, say 4 cars, Michael Hooper just about on the back of that as well, Kevin Adrian 1.4 seconds behind, but are these guys going to be able to work together? Are they going to want to work together to try and find their way towards not just the lead, but indeed the academy coach of Conor Bell?
Well, Connor's lead is currently 2.3 seconds over Rupesh Paneni, and it is another 1.5 seconds back or near enough to the battle for 3rd. So I think with a bit of working together, still 18, 19 minutes left in this race, there is potential for Harker, Puls and Joyner to make a run for the lead. But they need to get onto it very quickly. Kemal Kassim, meanwhile, with Kevin Lau and Rich Meesters. Meesters, remember, was up 8 positions before he came into the pits, and his pit stop actually looked okay as there's side-by-side ahead of him there. And no surprise to see that Kemal Kassim has gotten a slowdown from that. He'll park it on the apex in front of Rich Meesters and stymie his momentum. And now there's a potential here for the number 64 to move back another position, but where do you go on the way into this corner? It's really difficult to judge.
Well, he has managed to shave that
slowdown.
the
outside, my goodness.
Nicely done. Nicely done. I've got to say, some good strategy there from both drivers, and it looks like Philip Masson said, you know what? Thank you very much. He's getting into the mix now as well.
Looks like Kemal Kassim has still got his internet issues occasionally. Philippe Masson won't be very confident there behind him, but into the final corner he'll come and potentially pick up some slipstream. Oh dear, looks like Tyler Harker's had a problem. He's gone off at turn 1, and he will rejoin just ahead of Zomator and Brummett, who are now together. Remember, those 2 drivers pitted together a couple of laps before the leaders.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to see how this works out. And indeed, Tyler Harker might actually be grateful to have them behind him. These 2 drivers do indeed have pace. But let's have a quick look in just a second here. Getting a shout out by Brian Lenz. Jeremy Childers making up some spots. Indeed, he is. He's managed to make his way up to 12th place. But let's find out exactly what happened to Tyler Harker.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is going to be just your usual outbraking maneuver into turn 1 gone wrong. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, he was right in the midst of a fight here. The 1-4-6 of Felipe Puls. There was contact there. Felipe was sent off too. That's a shame for the both of them, but Harker came off worse by far.
It definitely looked like a racing incident by any means. It definitely did not seem of ill intent. But right now, you see Harker there. He's got Zomator and Brummett right behind. I have a feeling that's actually going to be advantageous towards him as well. Indeed, he's dropped a couple of spots. It's not where he wanted to be, but I don't think it's over yet. However, from Cairo Ends, it's about 3.6 seconds behind to Adrian Hopp. You can just see them a little bit further back. They're about a corner and a little bit of a straight behind, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, Conor Bell, that gap is closed, ladies and gentlemen. It was in the 2-second region. It's down to 1.8. Gotta wonder just what they can do. Last lap though, 57.37, and indeed Rupesh Paneni answers back with a 56.89.
Yeah, wow, that is quite the gain from Paneni, especially considering that he doesn't have any slipstream. to contend with there. Ian Joyner goes even faster, a 1 minute 56.5. 3/10 faster than Pineni, and almost a full second faster than than Connor Bell. So it looks like the top three at least will be closing. Michael Hooper, Felipe Puls, and Kevin Adrian, they were involved with Tyler Harker and doing some good times in the slipstream, but that incident between Puls and Harker has really put that pack at a disadvantage.
Very much so. We got a Kane H12 in the chat. Now, I do wonder who that could be. Just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. One and only Kane Halliburton going, did Connor under fuel? Looks like the race for the win is still on. I'm a little bit worried about Connor Bell's fuel as well. I definitely think he was, instead of getting a coffee, he got an espresso. And while the espresso is potent, I don't think it's going to be enough to get him to the finish line. I'm hoping he can make it, but maybe that's why he's lost a bit of time there to Rupesh Pineni, because he's literally having to lift just try and make this fuel last.
Yeah, indeed. Connor Bell's pit stop, for context, was 20.3 seconds. The next fastest stops are about 22 seconds. So, yeah, there's definitely a bit less fuel in Connor Bell's car as things stand. Hopefully, we'll get an answer to that dilemma very shortly. But for the moment, he's continuing to fly in formation, cruising at the front of this field. 8 laps remain in the race as Bell crosses the line, and his lap time was a 1:57.4, a 1:57.0 for Pineni, a 1:56.8 for Joyner. Hooper, Puls, and Adrian are fast as well. Felipe Puls, the fastest car on track, at a 1:56.8, as Tyler Harker has gotten a black flag and has to come back into pit lane.
Yeah, I'm going to suspect that's probably for an incident limit, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly a little bit unfortunate. Great drive from the 171 so far, but obviously caught the attention of the stewards. Meanwhile, though, Zoltan Zomator and Barrett Blemmer, these guys are going at it again, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly Tyler Harker was indeed hanging out with them as well. Jeremy Childers, he's about 5.8 seconds back. You just see him through the other half of that chicane, but indeed, are these two drivers going to be able to catch up to Adrian Hopp? He's about 2.5 seconds clear, and there's go Cairo Ends in the front of that shot as well. Yeah, these two guys are scrapping, ladies and gentlemen. The fight is on.
Yeah, they are. They pitted together, they came out together, and now they are enjoying a fun time here. Zomator picks up the power a bit better out of turn 4, but is not too keen to run up the inside of turn 5 there. We've seen that kind of line being taken before and have the driver lose the rear in the process. So probably discretion, the better part of valor there for Zoltan Zomator. He's a driver that doesn't tend to pull off the most spectacular moves, but where he needs to get it done, he certainly will.
Yeah, he's definitely no slouch behind the wheel by any means. He's 3,895 I rating as well, ladies and gentlemen. Barrett Blummett, 4510. This is definitely in the higher percentage of I ratings you can see. Certainly Kane Halliburton, the highest I ranking driver, I rating driver I've seen join the Almeida Racing Academy. He's about 8,000, ladies and gentlemen, by no means a very potent driver. Indeed, I know I definitely can't beat him. I will admit to that. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he's quicker than me, but I can tell you, though, that Edwin Riviera, he set the fastest lap, ladies and gentlemen, with a 1:56.41 on the last one round.
That's some good pace from Rivera on his return to the academy, as Connor Bell has let Rupesh Pineni pass for the race lead. There was a big lift into turn 1. I think we can confirm now that Connor Bell has underfueled it.
Yeah, I have a feeling that is exactly what happened recently. Yep, no fight there at all. He's going to have to hope he can save enough fuel behind Pineni and then make a little bit of a dash at the end.
Indeed. Man, he's going to have to be really careful here. If he did that big of a lift and he was losing that much pace now, I mean, they still have 6 laps to go at a track where you're full throttle for a sizable portion of the lap. I think Bell might be in trouble here, but he's going to do everything he can to stay in touch with Rupesh Pineni there. But back to Rivera for a moment. You're right, some fantastic pace. It's a shame that he couldn't start any further up the field. Remember, in Season 5, last season, It was Rivera who was fighting with Ian Joyner for the lead of the championship, and work commitments ended up taking Edwin Rivera away from this league. It was a shame to see him fall down the standings race by race as he did not return. His first race back, yes, he's had some problems, but he's been able to overcome them, and he is now up 9 places. Discounting Connor Bell, that is the most positions gained by anyone in this race.
Yeah, I'm not surprised in the slightest to see Felipe Pauls, Edwin Rivera making his way up there, and certainly we got a little bit of a roast in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to 100% read this aloud. Kane H12, what a rookie. We were laughing about you aimed at Connor Bell. Definitely, you know what, that is one of the beautiful things about a lot of we see it a lot here in Pit Road Productions, but certainly some good banter is very much part of the action. Indeed, myself and Reese having a good laugh, and myself and other members of the Pit Road Productions team as well, but certainly the drivers as well. It's not often we don't see somebody who's got a little bit of a friendly rivalry, and certainly Connor Bell and Kane Halliburton. Oh yeah, I think if Connor runs out of fuel, he's not going to hear the end of it for a little while.
Yeah, for sure. So we wait with bated breath and have our fingers crossed to see if Connor Bell can actually make it to the end of the race from here. 10 minutes remain, and Ian Joyner is continuing to make up time on this front two here. Pinetti's not going to really get much help from Bell here. There is some bump drafting going on, but Bell is not really pushing Pinetti down the straights, and Ian Joyner's continuing to run about a 10th faster than Pinetti can on any given lap. We've still got Felipe Pauls and Michael Hooper running times pretty competitive with the front guys as well, so anything can change in the last few laps.
Yeah, certainly Connor Bell, I'm pretty sure, is in eco mode, ladies and gentlemen. That's not a switch, not in the car anyway, but in the driver indeed. As right now, Michael Hooper, he's having a good bit of fun behind Felipe Pauls. Further back, though, Zoltan Sommerton and Barrett Blomet, they are still going at it, ladies and gentlemen. These have been pretty much inseparable, but Jaron Childers now, he's got someone to play with in the form of Valdes Pansavicius, who's currently in 3rd in the club class. Absolutely incredible stuff there as we look at the front of the field. Rupesh Pinetti still holding on to that lead. Ian Joyner now able to get it under a second, ladies and gentlemen. He is indeed closing it down, that gap. The question is it going to be too little too late? He's got about 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 8.5 minutes roughly, with a little bit of zippy math here. Is he going to be able to find his way forward? And indeed, are we going to see more battles here? Michael Hooper, I have a feeling, is lurking behind Felipe Pauls, as indeed right now he's currently there in P1 in the club class. Further back though, Zoltan Sommerton is indeed still going at it here with Barrett Blomet. This is the battle for P9, ladies and gentlemen, and indeed they are in the same class as well. We did do a little bit of poking as well, trying to say to Kane Halliburton, if you can get Connor Bell in the PRP Discord, we will interview him while he drives, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly a feature we'd love to see here more, but right now Zoltan Sommerton, he's kept the pressure applying here on Barrett Blomet. Are we starting to see a little bit of late race strategy come into play here? Certainly, Reese, if you're there, what would be your thoughts on this? Oh no, Reese Garner having a couple of technical difficulties there as well. Certainly it's a fantastic commentator indeed, and definitely I am sympathising. The technology here can indeed be a royal pain. Jeremy Childers, though, he's getting even closer there. Valdes Pansavicius has managed to find his way by, ladies and gentlemen. We'll take a quick look here at the replay and see just exactly how he got it done. You see that side by side through the right-hander. Pansavicius there getting it done. As Jeremy Childers pretty much backed out of there, I do have to wonder if he's maybe running a little bit shy on fuel as well. I do have to wonder specifically, if we take a look here at the pit times now, Vandavicius, he was a 26.92, Jeremy Childers 22.1. I have a feeling Childers may indeed be looking to try and save a little bit of fuel there and indeed find his way back to the end of the packet, as Ian Joyner has now come to the party, ladies and gentlemen. We have a three-way fight for the lead. We also got Hunter Crick joining us in the Swallow Almeida's chat as well. Nice to have you, Hunter. How's the races? Absolutely incredible so far. We have had the battle of the season so far, indeed, for the lead pack. As right now, Ian Joyner doesn't just take one, ladies and gentlemen, buy one, get one free, slingshots his way to the front of the pack, and Paneni doesn't look like he's about ready to give up on that yet. Ian Joyner, he started first, and he's potentially going to finish first as well. Last season's champion, is he going to be able to deliver, though, with the likes of Rupesh Paneni and indeed Connor Bell right behind? Jeremy Childers, however, still trying to fight back Valdez Vancevicius for P11 overall. Vancevicius, though, third in the Premier Club, in the club class, ladies and gentlemen. It is a case of risk versus reward, as indeed Reese Gardner has come to save you, ladies and gentlemen. And look at this, Ian Joyner slingshots his way to the front of the pack.
That he does. Man, that was tough. I do apologize. My audio devices decided to stop working completely. Here we go then. With just a few minutes remaining. Excellent job from Ian Joyner to catch up there to Paneni and Bell. Now it's going to be a challenge for the top three. Can Bell hang on to the back of these guys? Does he have the fuel to get to the end? Is there going to be a coming together? Because we can't forget that Michael Hooper and Felipe Puls are not too far behind these guys.
Yeah, certainly they're about 4.5 seconds behind as well. It is not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, as Connor Bell, I was hoping had his camera, and I believe we've lost it, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, something's gone there. I'd like to see his facial reaction right now, because I have a feeling it's going to be strained, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to have a battle with the fuel gauge. Kane Halliburton definitely wondering if he's under fueled, and then absolutely roasting the guy, calling him a Rocky. I absolutely love a good bit of banter, ladies and gentlemen. We are indeed going to have to see what would I previously would have called the Thompson Trophy. Certainly anybody who's seen me commentate some other series would know exactly what that means. A fond memory indeed. But right now, Ian Joyner appears to be pulling away very slightly there. He's got about 3/4 tenths of a second clear of Rupesh Paneni.
Some very pronounced weaving there on the straight there. Ian Joyner trying to break the draft as he knows they only have 3 laps remaining, and Rupesh Paneni could still steal victory from him. Connor Bell is still very much a factor in all of this as well. 156.3 from Ian Joyner on that lap. He has certainly brought back all of his pace from qualifying and then some, as the rest of the runners in the top 9 were unable to stay in touch one way or another, be it through the pit cycle or through on-track battles, mistakes on track. Michael Hooper and Felipe Puls still have potential to make this a big fight. Felipe, though, has one of the shorter pit stops of everyone outside of Bell, only 21.7 seconds. Michael Hooper stopped for 22 seconds. Tyler Harker, meanwhile, has gotten himself another slowdown there. It's been a real problem for Mr. Harker here. He's going to have to keep an eye out for Kevin Lau, who has been on a steady recovery since his off at turn 1 earlier in the race.
Yeah, I have a feeling what's happened is Tyler Harker's had a little bit of a detour, and I think what's happened is his concentration's been broken, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, we know he's got pace, we know he's got talent, and indeed, I think it's got the better of him on this occasion. Currently doing a 57.3 on the last lap. It's not bad by any means, but certainly Kevin Lau about a tenth slower, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, he's got himself into the clutches on the Taiwanese driver, the number 88, who is, we had the pleasure of seeing on driver cams last week. Indeed, Kevin, we'd love to see you come back as well.
Let's see what more Kevin Lau can do here. Lots of momentum on the way out of turn 10 here, and we'll find our way down to the hairpin. Can Kevin Lau make the pass on the outside? Harker is always the last of the late breakers. He's going to defend like an animal, and it looks like he'll just keep Kevin Lau from getting to the apex and keep the position for now. Rupesh Paneni, interestingly, has just fallen behind Connor Bell as well in the battle for second. It looks like a bit of a trade being made there. Whether or not it was a mistake from Paneni, I'm not entirely sure. It looks like he just ran wide in the penultimate turn to let Bell by.
Well, certainly we'll take a look here on the replay. Connor Bell just, yeah, that looks intentional, Reese. I have a feeling Paneni had no desire of being in P2.
Interesting. Not sure why Rupesh should do that. Maybe he was trying to... Oh, hang on. Is he running out of fuel? What's the deal here? Paneni is clearly off pace.
Oh, that was very much a lift.
Oh no, what's going on here? It's weird because Rupesh Paneni's pit stop was actually a bit longer than Joyner's. Maybe he, you know what, I think the mistake may have been pitting too early, potentially. He probably anticipated the race would be running a lap less than what it is and followed everyone in. What? Yeah, I'm trying to rack my brain here. This doesn't make sense.
Well, I can tell you straight away, he's already 3 seconds back from Connor Bell. Certainly, we did have a, not a bet going, but a suspicion that Connor Bell would be the person who'd be caught short on fuel. Rupesh Pineni was not on that equation, indeed. 3.3 seconds now. Is he going to make it to pit lane? As indeed, we're going to wonder, are we going to see the white flag? Already, Ian Joyner making his way round. Are we going to see that white flag? You got to hope so. It's absolutely scrubbing the curb there. I have a feeling Pineni's going to make it down pit road. No, he's gone past it. High risk.
Okay. So evidently he is able to make it to the end, but he could be under pressure from Michael Hooper and Felipe Puls here. There could be a change for overall P3 on the final lap as Joyner and Bell are side by side. Ian managing to get into turn 1 ahead, but he's gone deep, and Bell's going to try around the outside of turn 2, which becomes the inside for turn 3. Bell to the lead once again, but Joyner's going to be harassing him at every opportunity.
Yeah, I have a feeling these two guys are going to absolutely duke it out. Hopefully Connor Bell has got enough fuel. Ian Joyner as well, as again, side by side. And that almost looked like contact, ladies and gentlemen. There is absolutely inches to spare, ladies and gentlemen, as they make their way around the right-hander. Rupesh Pineni falling even further back, 4.3 seconds. He's got to try to make sure he stays clear of Michael Hooper, or himself and Felipe Puls, for lack of better words, mug him for that last spot on the podium. Puls there with an opportunity, but certainly Connor Bell under the defensive now. He's up 23 spots from the start, but now the defensive game is going to have to come into play. Him and Ian Joyner both hopping the curb there as they make their way down the straight and towards the right-hander.
Get on the power nicely here, and you can carry that momentum all the way down this following straight to the hairpin in the final sector. Bell sticks it in the middle of the road, forces Joyner to pick a side, and it's going to be the inside. Bell goes deeper into the corner. Can he get the rotation and maintain momentum on the exit? Joyner trying his best here to position his car for a run through the last couple of turns. That might be what sets him up for it. A late apex and an over-under could do it through the second last corner.
Whoa!
Bell's going to go super wide here, flat out through the last turn. Is Joyner going to have a dive at the last corner of the race? He will. Is it going to be enough contact on the exit? Connor Bell is going to cross the line in first place. Wow, what a finish. Yes, he is.
Oh my gosh, that was close. If that start-finish line had been that little bit further back, ladies and gentlemen, indeed it would have been incredibly colourful. Absolutely phenomenal stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Incredible stuff there. What a race. Michael Hooper dropped back. Hello. He crashed.
Oh, he did. Oh
dear.
We completely missed that.
Yep. All right. Let's go back. Let's find out what happened here. There's Michael Hooper on board here.
And Pineni down to 9th.
Oh, whoa. Oh my word.
No. Okay, so that tells the story of what happened to Rupesh Pineni. Slow to the line for Felipe Puls. Cairo Ends gets a couple of freebies in the last few corners.
What a jackpot for those guys. Felipe Puls, I said to you he'd be in a good spot to get a P3. I like being right, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, I'm not going to complain about that. Philip Masson there making his way around as well. Absolutely phenomenal stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And that race was absolutely incredible.
Certainly was. Still waiting on a couple of drivers to make their way to the line. It looks like Mason Kuhn is going to be the last car to make his way to the start-finish line here. Potentially. Oh, yeah, black flag for James Conrad. That's going to give him a time penalty, and I think Mason Kuhn might be close enough to take advantage of that and move ahead of him for position.
Yeah, so certainly James Conrad is going to show in 22nd place. I have a feeling that's going to change indeed. Mason Kuhn there right behind. Definitely a little bit unfortunate getting them hardware issues at the start, ladies and gentlemen. But I got to say, some interesting celebrations there, trying to balance the limits of grip. I got to admit, I've yet to see many people be able to drift very well in iRacing. Certainly, I think one of the best ones we've seen, Wally Hajicek in a cup car this week. Absolutely phenomenal drift out of that at Summit Point.
Yeah, indeed. Many shows that we broadcast here on Pit Road Productions. Up to 4 or 5 shows a week at times. It's fantastic. to have so many leagues on board with us, including the Almeida Racing League. Connor Bell, the coach, from the back of the field, wins by just 3/400ths of a second over Ian Joyner, who started on pole. Felipe Pulls takes the club class victory ahead of Kevin Adrian, and Cairo ends with Michael Hooper, Adrian Hopp, Barrett Brummett, Rupesh Panini, and Valdas Vansavicius rounding out the top 10 there. A shame for Panini and Hopp at the end, but it's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, definitely a little bit unfortunate, but I can say Felipe Paul's very much able to capitalize on that. I don't think he'll be quite as upset as they will, but indeed, having a look at P11, Zoltan Zonsor took that with Jeremy Childers in 24th in 12th. Carlos Picania took 13th, with Kevin Lau in 14th. Edwin Rivera, definitely would have loved to have seen him qualify, ladies and gentlemen. He would have been right up there with the lead pack, just going off previous experience. He was there in 15th with Tyler Harker in 16th. Definitely a rough day for him. Philip Masson, I'm hoping you're doing well, my friend. He's there in 17th with Rich Meesters in 18th. Kevin Kassim in 19th, and Steve Saunders rounding out your top 20.
Jeffrey Westland comes home in 21st place, one of many drivers who we would have expected a bit further up, including Mason Kuhn and James Conrad, all having big issues today. Jeffrey Adkins, the last driver on the track, and ultimately Domenico Sayu ended up retiring from the race there. Not entirely sure of the specific reason for it, but still a shame to see. Regardless, that is your field. And it's time for chats with the drivers who took part today. Zippy, I'll leave it up to you to decide who we bring in first. And it looks like it's going to be Connor Bell.
He did indeed. He managed to win, made it up 23 positions, ladies and gentlemen. And indeed, the Almeida Academy community manager, ladies and gentlemen. Just going to get your full title right, but don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean you just sit behind a desk. Incredibly potent drive, and certainly a NASCAR Track Canada driver, a Super Production Challenge driver. By all means, kind of tell us a little bit about how that was for you. Certainly was a little bit worried about your fuel. Kane Halliburton saying in the chat, what a rookie, with a laughing face. Well, I guess you're going to have to put him straight on that one.
Yeah, that was a rookie move for sure. This is the first time I've used an overlay for my fuel, so I listened to the overlay a little bit too much. I didn't realize I'd be coming out that far ahead of everyone, so I thought I could still sit in the draft a little bit. I figured Ian would also get a fast pit stop and we could just jump everyone, but it didn't work out that way, and I was basically dead even every single lap. I was like 9.0 left with fuel every time I'd cross the line, 8.0. But it started to get into the 0.9, so I was going to be 0.1 short. So I had to save throughout the last run, and ended up making it work. But I'm not sure if you guys saw in the replay, the car started running out of fuel probably about 10 feet before the finish line. So it was just about perfect. We'll say it was strategy, but it wasn't.
Definitely a little bit unfortunate indeed, but thankfully able to pull it off. An incredible battle with yourself and Ian Joyner in the end. But certainly we saw almost looked like Rupesh Panini and yourself almost gifting each other positions at one point. Was there any kind of communication over the radio there, just trying to make it sure that you guys both got to the end?
No, so I realized when I came out of the pits there was around a 3.5 second gap to Rupesh. I figured if I was under fueled, I'd just have to lift and coast around, and I could just manage that gap. But then realized pretty quickly that it would take more saving than a couple tenths a lap. Rupesh caught. I thought I could follow in his draft, but I think he was going to run out of fuel as well, so he ended up dropping back down the order, and I think ran out towards the end of the last lap.
Well, definitely it was an ambitious drive, and certainly myself, I did particularly enjoy the endurance round as well. Got a few upgrades to do here on Pit Road Productions, but certainly as an academy leader, Connor, tell us a little bit about what it's been like with the students here during this week's preparation.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, I don't want to jinx it like I always do, and I know I've been saying this the past few weeks, but the racecraft keeps taking a step forward every single week, and I think we saw that today. I'm quite sure there was only a couple incidents even at that, and just the racecraft IQ has increased a lot too. People know when to pass, know when to work together for the most part, so really looking forward to making more improvements, and this Monday, because of how good our racecraft has been, we can get back to technique-based workshops.
Definitely a huge shout out there. As Reese, I understand you've been able to pick up with this man's nearest competitor here for today's race. It's Ian Joyner.
Yeah, indeed. Welcome, Ian. From pole position to the back end of the top 10 to right back up the front again. You went on a bit of an adventure today, it seems.
Yeah, kept it entertaining for the full hour. It was definitely flew by. It was a fun race. Yeah, lots happened. I've not actually watched back the incident where, but you're not quite sure what happened, but yeah, got caught out from the car on the inside, and then fortunately no damage. It was relatively early on, so I knew there was plenty of time. And to be honest, no one was really keen on taking the front, so it was a better opportunity for saving at that point, really. So wasn't too bad. Just grateful to get through it all with damage, and then yeah, really fun end to the race. Wasn't sure where Rupesh was at fuel wise. I think unfortunately, do feel for him. I think he ran out at the end from what he said. Not seeing it. I figured Connor must be underfueled just because of the pace he was going, and I kind of. Yeah, he's either going to run out on the last lap, or he was going to use everything he got, which is he went the way where he used everything he got. So, yeah, we had a really good race. It's a good one.
Yeah, it was an interesting decision. We found that you left your pit stop as late as you did. You were, in fact, the last of the front runners to make your way into the pit lane. Any particular intention behind that, or was that just how your strategy ended up working out?
I think it's probably how it worked out. I mean, obviously you can't control when everyone else pits. I think most people probably pitting as late as they dared, so it's always a sort of a good sign that you're doing all right saving-wise if you've got that far. But it was absolutely on the edge. It was sort of spluttering into the pit lane, so probably lost a little bit of time. But on the other hand, I think 5 or 6 cars went in altogether, so I also thought sort of took the risk on doing the extra lap because you're almost certainly going to lose time going into the pits in a big queue like that. So it's hard to know exactly where I worked out, because I suppose without seeing how everyone else did, it wasn't too bad. But obviously Connor was on the field, under fuel, but he made it. I think unfortunately Rupesh didn't. So it's probably on balance not a bad call in hindsight.
Well, regardless, yeah, still coming away with second, and with the coaches not eligible for points, that's an effective race win for you coming out of this one. The Chicago Street Circuit is going to play host to the next round of the championship. I don't think we could go to a more vastly different circuit from Catalunya. You're going to have to really have your eyes on stalks for that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't make that round. But we did do it last season, so it's actually a lot more fun to drive than you might think. The racing's good as well. It is obviously just somewhat treacherous if you end up in the walls, but it is great. So yeah, I'll probably be a spectator for that one, but should be back the week after.
All right, fair enough, Ian. Thanks very much for joining us. Congratulations on the podium, and I guess we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks, guys. See you then.
That's Ian Joyner there, and Zippy, I understand you've had a chance to catch up to Kevin Adrian, who finished 4th overall. Indeed,
certainly, Kevin. It is definitely a pleasure to have you back here in the interview booth. Looking like you had a little bit of a workout today, sir, and certainly you finished the same place you started. But Catalunya able to get a P3 in class. So I guess if you exclude Connor, that'd be a P2 in class and a P3 overall. Definitely a good day for yourself. It looked like at times it was going not so much to plan, but able to bring it back. Tell us a little bit about the strategy you had in mind for today's race.
Exactly. Yeah, I qualified really good. I was up in 4th, so finishing 4th is great. But yeah, in the first stint, everyone just kept passing me. So I was thinking, okay, I just need to stay clean. It's an hour race, so definitely there's lots of time. And that was my strategy: just stay alive, stay in the front pack. I was just able to hold on there, so that was good. I thought I was saving a lot of fuel, but then guys did 2 laps extra than me, so obviously I need to work on that still. But when I came out, I was, I don't know, 6th or 7th, 8th, I don't remember, but yeah, the guys just kept falling in front of me, so I'll take the places. And endurance, I haven't done many of those yet, so this is good practice to know what I need to do, and it was fun. I'll take a 4th any day.
Well, definitely, if you exclude Connor Bell, it's a third, and I would 100% exclude Connor Bell. That's like kind of going against the final boss, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, that would work in your favor as well. For a second there, we thought he was going to run out of fuel. Had the shortest pit stop by quite a good margin as well. He's in there 20.38 seconds. Yourself, 23.68. So I don't know what the fuel as well, but honestly, Connor Bell... maybe he put a thinner injector in there or something like that. I know he can't tweak the car, but by all means, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat, especially if you want to roast different ways that some of these drivers manage to save fuel, go for it. Myself, I'm not very good at fuel saving either. Usually what tends to happen is I go slower and use the same. Certainly, maybe we can get a workshop on that. Connor Bell obviously demonstrating he's able to do that. But Kevin, we're going to Chicago next week. It's going to be a little bit of a different kind of venue. How do you feel about that particular circuit?
We raced it last year or last season, and I'm pretty sure I didn't do very good. So I'll be working on that this week for sure. Try and get a little better, get a good result, and very different from this track. So it's going to be a good change. Should be fun.
Well, certainly one of the seasoned gentlemen in the group. Certainly, yeah. Well, I'm not calling you old, Kevin. I'm calling you seasoned, and indeed, like a steak, you don't want it bland, ladies and gentlemen. It just goes to show that indeed this old dog has learnt new tricks and is able to push himself way ahead of the majority of the field. Ladies and gentlemen, how big a grid do we have? 25 cars on the grid today. And Kevin Adrian, you was able to be ahead of 22 of them. Certainly a good result indeed. And I look forward to it. Hopefully, I might even come and see you tomorrow, have a race with you myself. We'll see. Certainly, it's not one of my princess-approved tracks, so I'm pretty sure my money's on you on that one. But certainly, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever see it raining as well, keep your eyes on this man. Indeed, he is a rainmaster in his own right. Put your hands together for the driver of the number 10 car, Mr. Kevin Adrian.
Fantastic stuff. Good to see Kevin here once again. And finally, Cairo Enns is going to be the last driver joining us from the race today. Cairo, it was another quite interesting race for you. I was saying to Joyner that he went on quite an adventure, and it seems that you did the same. You were in the top 3 in qualifying for a while, running as high as P3 at points, then falling back further, back up to 5th place, getting a few freebies on the final lap as well. You had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it was really interesting getting into the practice session this morning. I was a little bit late. I wanted a little bit more time to get set up, but I got what I got, and yeah, just had to deal with it. Yeah, partway through qualifying, I realized that there was an issue with some of my equipment. It wasn't responding the way it's supposed to, so I put in another couple laps, just dealt with it, and then I was like, well, 5 minutes left. I'm just gonna put it in because I'm not on a good lap and take a look at what's going on. And yeah, I don't know what's going on with my equipment. It's being a buggy mess right now, but I figured out what I could and made it work as best I could. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, indeed. At the end of the day, still P5 and second place in the club class, which is a fantastic position for you to be in there. Coming into the sort of second half of the season, this is where the championship really gets tight. This is where you really need to start thinking about getting as many points as you can every way you can. All of that considered, going up from 15th to 5th is I'd call that a best case scenario, honestly.
Yeah, it was very good to have Connor coming up behind me and then being able to play a little bit of game of leapfrog and then have him pull me along through the pack. He opened up a few doors for me quite well, and I was just able to make the best of it. And yeah, made my way up a good few positions and felt really good. I was able to stay in the draft, which helped me save a decent bit of fuel, which made it a lot more comfortable. I did have a little bit of difficulty with the draft on a couple of corners as the front left tire started to get a little bit warmer and started understeering and got a few off tracks, so I had to dial it back a little bit. But yeah, once I had it locked in, then yeah, it was good to go. Yeah, I had a few good battles, a little bit of bumping here and there, but nothing too messy. And yeah, it was. I said last week that my main rival was going to be Tyler, and watching him pull away from me in the second half there after the pit stop was almost a little bit disappointing, but it was great to see that he was being a little bit too aggressive, pulled up a few too many incident points, and had to go in for black flag. So that for sure is going to give me a good lead against him in the standings. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Working out all right for you today, and well, you're not going to be taking much advantage of the slipstream at Chicago. It's going to be a very different circuit, but a lot more brutality, I would say, than Barcelona. So, wishing you the best of luck in your preparations for next week's race, Cairo. Congratulations once again on the top 5, and hopefully we're chatting to you again.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, Cairo ends the last of the drivers from the field today that we chat to, Zippy. That's going to bring proceedings to an end for today's race. Another excellent round of the Almeida Racing League. And I'm really looking forward to Chicago, honestly. It's a track that I don't believe I was actually here for that particular broadcast last season. So it'll be a new experience for me. Spec Racer Fords around that very tough street circuit.
Yeah, if memory serves me right, it made for an interesting broadcast, that's for sure. And certainly it's good to see that the Almeida Academy absolutely delivering here in entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, if you want to be part of that, I would strongly suggest that you want to get faster. Yes, you can go out and buy stuff like a direct drive and fancy pedals, but there's a phrase, all the gear and no idea. And certainly I'd say I'm in that bracket, ladies and gentlemen. I do need to spend a little bit more time on the course material. It's been so tied up doing broadcasts here for you guys on Pit Road Productions, and I'm happy to do that, ladies and gentlemen. It's an expense I'm willing to pay for, indeed, in terms of my racecraft and indeed my race pace. But certainly, if you want to be involved in this, we are about just over halfway through the season at this point. They generally run a season that's 11 weeks long, have a couple of weeks break there, and then they get straight back into it. So certainly, what I would suggest, get into the academy, start developing your racecraft, developing your pace, becoming part of this absolutely phenomenal community, ladies and gentlemen. There's talks about doing endurance teams as well. We've got events like Bathurst, Sebring and stuff coming up as well. Keep that in mind. I do see posts so regular, people looking for drivers and stuff like that. Well, why not make yourself faster? Make yourself become friends with many beautiful people here in this community, and indeed find yourself on a broadcast here as well. $25 a month. It's an absolutely phenomenal deal indeed. That much content from people who've gone and shown you, ladies and gentlemen, they've been there, they've done it, they've got the t-shirt. Well, I say that they got the hat, ladies and gentlemen, the famous Michelin hat, for example. We saw Connor Bell wearing last week and roasting my friend Nikolai in the process. Thank you for that. I very much enjoyed that. But certainly that would be the way to go. But after I've gone and described that a little bit there, Reese, I think you should probably do the honors here and bring this broadcast to a close before I have a little bit of a message here from Swellio.
Indeed. Fantastic stuff today. Thanks everybody for watching, both on Pit Road Productions and Swellio Almeida's channel. A huge thanks to the entire crew at the Almeida Racing Academy for putting this league on and bringing us in to bring it to the world. A reminder that over on Pit Road Productions, we are not far away from 1,000 subscribers, so make sure to hit that button, click the bell as well if you want to be notified of any of our further broadcasts. We're going to be having a nicely packed schedule next week and many weeks thereafter, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. I'm Reese Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box here on Pit Road Productions. Reminder, $25 a month at swellioalmeida.com to get yourself on board with the best coaching academy in sim racing. That's it from us. Here's a word from Swellio and the team.
Now he's here teaching all his secrets to all these drivers. This is Almeida Racing Academy,
where every champion has a starting line.
The sim racer turned real world superstar, Swellio Almeida.
It's Connor Bell racing in his own backyard for the very first time in the NASCAR Canada Series.
The workshops helped out so much. Something about battling with somebody faster than you, it just pushes you that little bit further, and I was able to just keep developing my skill.
I can kind of commit more with the exit there. That was good. If you do take sim racing seriously, it does impact your racing technique for the rest of your life.
I know how the car is going to perform around these corners because the model I have in the sim. Just the benefit of sim racing when you go into real life, I don't think people quite realize it yet.
You have infinite track time is the biggest factor. You are able to try so many things, and the physics that are simulated in the sim nowadays, especially iRacing, are so close to real life.
Creating champion.
Swelio Almeida is a master at his craft. He's outclassed a Le Mans driver, a European Le Mans Series racer.
These guys are among the top 0.02% in the world.
Designed to create champions.
First NASCAR Canada start. First NASCAR victory for Connor Bell.
Connor Bell standing on the podium here today.
This is the Almeida Racing Academy 3.0.
Way to race, buddy. Way to race.